Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Newmarket Racecourse here on Saturday. It is the 14th of October, 2023. Gonna look at the stakes action from Newmarket, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. Some great races today from Newmarket and here in the States from Keeneland and Aqueduct. Hopefully the rain stays away locally here in New York, but other than that, it's some good racing. But today's card from Newmarket, we're going to look at the first 5 races. You have the featured Dewhurst, you have the Cesarewitch. Both those races we're going to look at. Let's get to right now. Starting with the first race, the 125. Beginning of the place pot, it's the Group 3 Autumn Stakes. It's a Group 3 event for Class 1 horses going for a purse $72,000. Race for 2-year-olds here. 7 horses are going 1,600 meters or a mile on the Rolly Mile. I'm going to take the 2-horse Ancient Wisdom, 254 in the Tricast Trifecta. 254 Tricast Trifecta, top selection 2-horse Ancient Wisdom, 2-year-old colt by DeBowie here. Charlie Appleby trains one for Godolphin. William Buick gets to mount. The horse's most recent appearance came in a listed race at Ascot, 29th of July, 7 furlongs there on good ground, and he finished third by 5 3/4 lengths that day, and he just kind of traveled decently. He needed that extra turn a foot late, but I didn't think he ran half bad. Refreshing here to not lesser quality horses, but to a little bit longer trip on a little softer ground, which I think he should absolutely adore. I think he's in a better spot to win. 2 back, he ran 24th of June on the July course here in Newmarket, 7 furlongs in a Class 4 novice race, and he won by 1 3/4 lengths, and he was all out on the drive excelling, 17 cents the dollar. They knew about him, and he took off clear. That was a very strong, easy run. And then at Haydock on 19th of June, 7 furlongs in a Class 4 novice race, he won by a half a dozen, and again, he really took off clear on the front end. It hasn't been seen in a little bit. He's going to have to overcome soft ground, but I think that's something he could do. I'm going to use him on the ticket. I think the 1-horse Orn for Rab Haviland and Jonathan Gazin can win. On debut at Kempton on the Polytrack a few weeks ago, that was a very nice victory going away towards on the front end. He is stepping up in some class here today, but he has some forwardly pace. I'll use him here at 7-2. He looks like he could be a good one for Al Shakab. But to recount my selection for the 125, the first race from Newmarket's Group 3 Autumn Stakes, going to take the 2-horse Ancient Wisdom, give kudos to the 5-horse Orn, 254 Tricast Trifecta. Let's use the 2 and 5 in the place pot. The featured second race at 2 o'clock, it's the Group 1 Dewhurst Stakes. It's a Group 1 event for Class 1 horses going for a $634,500 purse. Race for 2-year-olds here. Field of 8 horses going 1,400 meters or 7 furlongs in this year's Dewhurst. It's always 7 furlongs. My top selection, I'm going to go with the 7-horse Iberian. I'm going to go 7-3-1 in our Tricast Trifecta. 7-3-1 Tricast Trifecta. Top selection 7-horse Iberian. 2-year-old colt by Lupe de Vega. Charlie Hill trains. Tom Marquand gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the Group 2 Champagne Stakes at Doncaster. Soft ground, 7 furlongs on the 16th of September. And the horse won by 2 lengths that day. Early on in the race, he kind of stalked all the way down the race course, but he had an explosive turn of foot on that heavy, softish going. When he took off clear, that was a strong run. He's going to see similar ground here today. He's, run decent enough figure-wise races that could keep up with these horses. I think he's in a good spot to find the winner's circle today. I also like the stand-side poster with him. 2 back in the Group 2 Vintage Stakes at Glorious Goodwood, 7 furlongs on yielding ground on the 1st of August. He finished second by a length that day. The winner took off clear. This horse kind of settled behind him. He was improving, but he needed something more, but he ran his heart out. It was still a very good race in defeat. And then on debut in Newbury over the 6th in a Class 4 novice race, he won by 1 3/4 lengths that day, and basically he broke out of the gate on top, and he could have walked under the line. He was flying home. That was a very easy run for a 2-year-old first time outing. There was nothing really he did wrong there. He's a logical winner. I'm going to use him here. Another very logical winner is the 3-horse City of Troy. Great pedigree on this one by a Forever Together mare, and justifies. This horse looks like he could be a real deal. But Coolmore owns this one. Ryan Moore gets the mounts on this one for O'Brien. Most recently hasn't been seen since the superlative at Newmarket on going the 7 in July, where he won by 6.5, and he put on a show that day. Very easy run. Even on debut of 2 weeks prior at the Kerr, he really took off clear. They in an interview this week, the O'Brien's camp said, they need to find a race. This is the most logical one. He might not be so cranked up and might not like the soft ground, but even on his off day, he looks like he could be a horse that could do real damage here. At 1-2, I know he's a short price, but he's very likely winner. I'll use him in the place pot. But to recount my selection for this 2 o'clock, the second race from Newmarket, it's the Group 1 Dewhurst. Gonna take the 7-horse Iberian. Give kudos to the 3-horse City of Troy. 7-3-1 Tricast Trifecta. Use them both in the multis. Let's get to the third race, the 240, a race very rich in history. It's the Cesarewitch Handicap. It's a heritage handicap for Class 2 horses, going for a purse of $240,000. Race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 36 horses entered. Only 34 could go 3,600 meters, or the distance of ground of 2 miles and 1/4 on the Rolly Mile Turf Course. Longest race of the season at Newmarket, if I'm not mistaken. Do they still run that Newmarket City Plate, or is that what it is? It's a non-betting for amateurs. I think that goes like they have a special course, the City Plate course that connects to the July course and the Rolly Mile. It's been a while since I looked up that race, so I got to do it afterwards. Comment below if they still have that. I have to be. I think it's the City Plate, is it? They run it at the end of August, right when the July course ends. I can't remember. Let me not go on a tangent here. Let me go to my top selection, the 12 horse to Shuntner. I'm gonna go 12-8 in our forecast exacta. That's my top two basically. 12-8 exacta. Top selection, the 12 horse to Shuntner. This 10-year-old gun by Stowaway. Emmett Mullins trains one for John McManus. James Doyle gets the mount. Horse's most recent outing came over the flat at Gowan, a mile and 9/16 in a Class 2 handicap. And he finished 4th by 6 1/4 lengths. It was his first start of the summer. He stayed the trip well. He needed something more late. He had also a high weight on his back, but I didn't think it was a half bad race. Off of a decent run 2 months ago now, but off of a recent run recently, sitting a little bit closer here today, getting a longer trip. I think this horse could, stay the trip well to win. 2 back, he ran in Class 2 handicap at Punchestown during the festival, 2 miles 3/8 there. He finished 15th by 41 lengths that day. He never jumped well. He never got into it. I don't think he liked the yield, the fast going that day. He's going to really adore the soft going today. And then he ran a Kelso, 2 miles 7/8 in a Class 1 listed chase. He finished 3rd by 6 1/4 lengths that day. He needed something more, but he liked the wet stuff there. And then he ran at Nace last November, 2 miles in a Premier handicap. He finished 4th by 4 1/4 lengths. I thought he needed something more, but he was traveling decently that day. Has definitely been on the improve. I think second off, 10-1, he's a very likely winner. I think the 8-horse Pied Piper can win also. This 5-year going by New Approach. Ryan Moore's on this one for Gordon Elliott. When I think of Pied Piper, if you're a Beach Boy fan, find the Holland album, and inside, if you have your original, you'll still have the extra disc, which was the Ryan Wilson's Fairy Tale, and it was called Mount Vernon and Fairway, something like that. And one of the sections is the Pied Piper section. Go listen to it, because it's the craziest thing you'll ever listen to, but it's also the most creative thing you've ever listened to. But I got off on a tangent again. But Pied Piper's most recent outing came in an amateur race at Killarney, 2 miles and 8th on 24th of August, and he finished 3rd by 2 lengths that day. And he just couldn't keep up late. First start back over a long trip. He needed the race. I thought that gave him probably some good stamina to come into this race. Coming here a little bit fresher, gonna have to overcome a wide post job, but I think he's handicapped well to stay the trip well and get a piece of it late. He ran the Champion Hurl before that at Punchestown over the 2, where he finished 6th by 19 lengths that day, and he just didn't show a lot. Wasn't his day to win. And then at Cheltenham during the festival and a Premier handicap hurdle, he finished 2nd by a head that day, and he really was jumping a terrific race. He just missed late, but his form there at Cheltenham and at Leopardstown before that in the Irish Champion hurdle, those 2 races weren't bad at all. At 9-2 coming into this race second off, I'm going to use him on the ticket. To recount my selection for the 240, the 3rd race from Newmarket, the Cesarewitch Handicap, going to take the 12-horse to Shuntner. Give kudos to the 8-horse Pied Piper. 12-8 forecast exacta, using both in the quad or place pot, whatever we decide to play. The 4th race, the 315, it is the Group 3 Zetland Stakes. It's a Group 3 event going for a purse $72,000. Race for 2-year-olds here. 5 horses are contesting 2,000 meters or a mile and a quarter on the Rolly Mile. I'm going to take here the number 4 horse, Gaspar de Lemos. I'm going to go 4-1-3 in our TriCash trifecta. 4-1-3 TriCash trifecta. Top selection 4 horse, Gaspar de Lemos. This Aidan O'Brien trained, Colmore owned 2-year colt by Justify. Ryan Moore's on this one. The horse's most recent appearance came mid-September at Curra. 7 furlongs in a Class 2 main race, and he won by 3 lengths that day. And he got into the race early on, which I thought got him into the winner's circle. He was more aggressive with this horse, and he basically cruised on the line. That was a very good race in the sophomore effort. Coming to a mile and a quarter, which he's bred for through and through. Sitting low close, I think he could get a good race and win. On debut, he ran a Leopardstown in mid-August, a mile in a Class 2 main race. He never really got going. He finished 4th by 4 3/4 lengths, and he just was lackadaisical. He was traveling decently, but he's just never quickened up that day. And then, what can you do? But after that, he really improved a lot. Like I said, going to a longer trip at 5-1, I think he's a real winner. I think the one horse Arabian Crown you can't throw out for William Buick and Godolphin. Most recently at Salisbury in a listed race, he won by 2 1/4 lengths that day. And again, he was much the best on paper, and he proved it. He basically won on cruise control. Prior to that, in a maiden race at Sandown over the mile, over the 7, he won by 2 lengths that day, and he had the speed from the inside. He saved ground, and he got out clear late. That was a very strong run. And on debut, he was just a little bit lackadaisical, but he was, into the race. He's been on the logical improve. Another horse, Mount Course, should suit him through and through. He's proven to get handled given the ground. I'll use him on the quad pod or place pod. But to recount my selection for the 3:15, the fourth race from Newmarket, it's Group 3 Zetland. Gonna take the 4-horse Gaspar de Lemos. Give kudos to the 1-horse Arabian Crown. 4-1-3, trifecta. The fifth race, the 350 now, it is the Group 3 Darley Stakes. It's a Group 3 event for Class 1 horses going for a $96,000 purse. Race for 3-year-olds and upwards. 10 horses are going 1,800 meters, or a mile and 1/8 on the turf horse. I'm going to take the 5-horse Sir Busker as a top selection. 5-6-3 in our tri-cash trifecta. 5-6-3, Tricast Trifecta, top selection 5-horse Sir Busker, 7 Gallon by Sir Prancelot, William Knight trains, Jim Crowley gets the mount. Horses first off the 6-month refreshment came at Sandown last month, a mile in a listed race, and the horse finished 7 by 4 3/4 lengths that day, and he just kind of stalked that day all the way down the race course, and then he just kind of hit the wall late. I do think he needed the race. Refreshing here, second off, not the world's toughest race than he's been facing, not the world's toughest horse. He's been facing tougher horses in the Middle East and here in the UK last season. I just think he's going to be in a better spot to find the winner's circle. 2 back in the Group 1 Dubai Turf at Maidan, a mile and 1/8 on the 25th of March. Nobody's catching Lord North that day. He finished 10th by 6 lengths, never getting into it. And then the Neon Turf Cup over the mile and 1/4 at Saudi Arabia, he finished 9th by 19 lengths, again, never getting into it. But his Linkfield Derby trial, or the Lister race over the mile at Linkfield in February, was a very nice place that day. We finished 2nd by 1/4 lengths. I thought he needed a little bit more ground, but he got down the race course well. And even his third in the Jedmont International before that wasn't bad at all. And the York Stakes before that was a very nice victory. He might want a little faster round, but I think with some class relief, he could show up in the winner's circle. I'll use him. I think the 6-horse Knight could win also for James Doyle and Simon and Ed Crisford. Was nearly a winner last time at Sandown over the listed race where he just missed late, but he ran his heart out there. Again, in the Celebration Mile, he just missed, but he was really closing up well late. And then he was a little lackadaisical at Goodwood, but he needed the race off the bench. But he's another horse he can handle given the ground. His form really gets better if you go through his form cycles towards the end of the season. The young guy taking on the old man, I'll use him on the ticket here. So to recount my selection for the 5th, the 350 from Newmarket, it's the Group 3 Darley. Gonna take the 5-horse Sir Busker. Give kudos to the 6-horse Knight. 5-6-3, Tricast Trifecta. Use them both in the quad or place pod. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, everybody.